Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, everybody. Welcome back to another 1 p.m.-ish PST YouTube stream. I'm your host, Transfer Jim, and today we got ourselves some more Pega certification studying to work on. We got some Unreal to um, tackle. Still gotta figure out what was going on with that ambient sounds, which um, I think I saw something that might help. We'll have to look into that a little bit more and find out what if if that is indeed the case. Um, and then we'll go from there. Um, the um, then we will have some video uploads to handle to schedule for. Wasn't able to. I didn't upload yesterday's content, so that's gonna have to wait until tonight. Um, but there's that. I'll take care of that. And then of course we got Terraria later on tonight, single player and multiplayer. So if any of those is of any interest to you whatsoever, um, you know, stick around on the stream and uh, we'll be seeing all that. Or if you're just catching these videos later on YouTube, then those are available, and I do upload them straight to playlist. Um, Hardly any editing whatsoever to them. So at this time, so I'm gonna be straight VODs, straight from the stream here. So there you go. Okay, so uh, let's get into the Pega content that you might be here for, if that's what you're interested in. A little bit about me and what I'm doing with these videos, and so you know what you're getting yourself into. Um, so, um, about me, I'm currently in out of work, a software developer whose last job was dealing with the Pega environment. I was a contractor in charge of, you know, helping out with a Pega application that had already been developed. So I was just basically there to um, provide, basic support to, the senior developers that were there. But um, the uh, the the employer that I was with, they trained us on the Pega environment with an authorized training partner. However, we had some problems with that particular person. Um, Pretty much everybody in our team went self-study for it, if not everybody. I don't know, if everybody went self-study or not, but a good majority of us did. Um, and even the guys' coworkers knew that we were having a hard time with them and saw firsthand um, that we were having some difficulties with the individual. Um, but they tried to force me to take the certification. I was not ready for it. I clearly failed it. I missed 6 questions, more than the bare minimum. So I didn't get the necessary requirements to uh, get the certification at that time, get the 8.6 certification. Um, and one of the things that kind of irritated me about the certification process was the fact that, um, you know, when I was studying for the 8.6, I was seeing a lot of 7.0 or Pega 7 questions in there as well. Some earlier certification questions in the on the certification test, and I'm like, okay, never seen these keywords before. So That was um, that threw me off. Um, Now it did break down, things that I needed to kind of work on, needed to study for, and stuff like that, um, and it kind of fell on me to try to take that information and continue studying to try again and take the certification again. Um, but I didn't do that. Okay, so that kind of fell on my shoulders, the fact that I did not take those necessary steps to progress. You know, I'd hoped that, much like some of my peers, we were asking to be placed back into another training session with a different authorized training partner to learn the Pega environment properly. So that the questions that we asked were actually being answered. Um, but that didn't happen. We were pushed into a contract. And that contract, um, they don't have anything set up for any kind of mentorship. They expected you to already have your certification right then and there. So, they have, you know, and even then, what's really sad is the fact that, hey, you're a new employee. Um, Forget about teaching you techniques that we've learned over the years. You're just gonna have to ask questions, and that's it. That's all you're gonna be getting from uh, you know more advanced programmers, which is really sad, to be honest. Um, if you're an advanced programmer, if you're a seasoned veteran, you should be kind of guiding um, younger developers in the you know in effective means of coding or learning, some of the different, you know, lessons that you learned over the years, right? Um, if they wanted, of course, which I did, but nothing really happened there, unfortunately. They basically said, hey, if you have questions, you can ask them, but that's about as much as we're gonna go. So, but just know, if you're watching these videos, I'm not an authorized training partner. This is not meant for an instructor-led training. I'm trying to get the certification, much like anybody else is. So that's who I am. Okay. Now these videos, I'm going to be covering over the system architect certification process, going over the topics, going over the modules, going over the challenges, and asking questions along the way. Um, I record these and put them up on the channel so that, either one, other peers might, see the videos and might, get some additional context. Maybe it'll help them study a little bit more. Maybe it'll help them, push their progress on further if they want to. Um, the the other side of it is that, the questions that I have, well, they're not being answered by Pega Academy itself. Okay. Otherwise, my questions would be answered. Um, so I'm hoping that senior developers, veterans will go through these videos, see the questions that I'm asking, and be able to maybe um, describe or state what I'm missing. You know, in some fashion or another. Just basically say, you're looking at it like this. You need to look at it like this in order to really understand, what they're stating. Um, because sometimes all it takes is a different, you know, if you're looking down a hallway kind of thing, maybe sometimes you might need to, you know, look down like another hallway or something like that. uh, you know, change your perspective of like a mirror or something like that, and instead of looking straight on, just kind of turn to the side and see it, in a different in a different way. Sometimes that's all that's needed there, folks. You know, um, instead of you know ramming your head up against the wall over and over and over again, trying to get an understanding of the material that's trying to be presented to you. Sometimes you need a different means of having that description told to you, or you read a different description of it to understand what exactly they're stating. So, and hopefully, you know, I know that I'm reading through the the system architect modules and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of repeating what's there. But, I also try from time to time to kind of have my own um, added information in in these talks that I do, and hopefully that helps. So, if you're here for business architect, that's already done. We're I've already covered all the two missions and two modules for 8.7. So if you're looking for the business architect, we've already covered it. I go back through the playlist and it's all there. Um, However, I will state these two modules here cover the Pega Express delivery. So you're going to want to go through this mission of Pega Express delivery here to get a more thorough look about it than what these two modules provide. Okay, because this is 12% of your business architect certification. I recommend that you cover this and get more details on the Pega Express delivery because these two modules I don't think do a good enough job to get you prepared for the business architect certification. If these missions are supposed to get you fully prepared for the certification, in some ways I feel like they are doing a really bad job of it because it doesn't feel like they are covering enough for you to fully understand. And it also feels as though they don't repeat some of their key information over and over and over again to driving that point that, hey, this is something like the three pillars, for example, of Pega. I can't really remember it anymore, and that's not good. you know, I'm gonna have to go back and make sure that I cover that again before I take the certification. But you get what I'm saying. You know, you need to have you know um, some core concepts that are restated. You know, so that you are very much familiar with it by the time the certification comes around. And don't get me wrong, the the test at the end, does try to help reinforce that, but um, I do feel like the topics themselves can also do a good job of it if they apply it right. So, okay, so we had information and user interface last time. We had repeating, or actually, we had repeating layouts last time. Um, so now we're going to be moving on to the dynamic layouts today. So, dynamic layouts are the type of layout that arranges items you designate, such as fields and controls, in a flexible format that automatically adjusts to screen size. Dynamic layouts support responsive behavior in various devices, such as computers, tablets, and phones. As screen sizes change, dynamic layouts shift on-screen content by wrapping elements to the next line. Wrapping eliminates the need for horizontal scrolling on smaller screens. Um, but I mean, you're typically eliminating horizontal scrolling anyway on smaller screens. So what, you know, whatever. Dynamic layouts are available only on user interfaces rendered in HTML5 document type. Applications created before Pega 7 might not be using the latest dynamic features of the Pega platform user interface. You can use the HTML5 application readiness landing page to update your application. For more information on the HTML5 application readiness landing page, see the help topic. So, describe the purpose of dynamic layouts. Dynamic layouts facilitate the process of rendering the user interface in HTML5 document type. I mean, sure, but um, dynamic layouts maintain a fixed string size. No, dynamic layouts contain views. I mean, actually, I don't remember seeing that up there. Um, so, no. Although, you would think maybe, but I don't know. Dynamic layouts arrange items in flexible form that automatically adjust to screen size. Okay, so this one um, is probably the one that they want to go with, um, but I mean, technically, I mean, the first one, isn't necessarily wrong either. But it doesn't necessarily facilitate the process of rendering the user interface. Um, you know, it works with the user interface that is rendered in HTML5 document type, but it doesn't facilitate the process. So so that's the reason why the first one doesn't really work very well. It's definitely not fixed string size, as they've already mentioned. That you know um, as screen size change, dynamic layout shift. So that doesn't work. Contains views. I mean, I don't see views anywhere in here, but I mean, can't you just have a view contained within a layout? I don't know. And that's one thing that I'm not like 100% sure about. Like views are kind of meant to be like its own um its own kind of layout in itself. Like it has everything kind of set about the page in a certain fashion. So like if I'm not mistaken, like layouts and views are supposed to be kind of um I guess the same in some regards. So I don't know. It feels as though you could have views being placed within a layout. So um, a dynamic layout, a change in screen size can arrange the contents of the view. Doesn't that show that you could have a view contained in there? Um, I'm gonna refresh here because views can contain one or more dynamic layouts, not the other way around. Okay. Um, okay. Okay. So that's how they um describe it. So, you have the view as the larger picture, I guess you might say, the everything that you will see on the screen. But then you have a dynamic layout that you can add into the views if you want to. Um, which kind of begs the question: if a dynamic layout is supposed to be, changes itself based off of the screen size, how does the view handle the different dynamic layouts? Um, you know, Not sure. Um, so okay, I I understand this now. I understand why you know, it's not dynamic layouts contain views, it's the other way around. Views contain dynamic layouts. So gotta remember that, you know. Um, we already know that it doesn't work with the fixed screen size. I want to see what it says about you know, facilitate the process of rendering. So, um, dynamic layouts are available only to user interfaces rendered in HTML5 document type. So, yeah, so it's, you know, if you're looking at that initial line there, okay, some, it's been known that sometimes our brain tricks itself to reading something that might not be there, or it, fills in letters for like a misspelled word. Our brain tends to trick ourselves when it comes to and tends to English language. Now, I don't know if that's, the English language itself that's doing that. Our brain is trying to handle the English language and its, uh, you know, ease of use. Um, or if it's just, you know, um, I don't know if that study's been done like on other languages such as Spanish or Japanese or French, or yeah. Um, does the human brain, handle misspelling words of those as well? Like if you misspell a word in Spanish, in French, in Japanese, does it still kind of try to go, oh yeah, you meant this word? Does it still kind of handle that, or is it still, um, you know, like does your mind automatically go, you're reading it, it kind of bypasses that word automatically when you're trying to read through it, because you're kind of seeing like the beginning and last letter of the word, and you're kind of skipping over it, or skipping over the misspelling. I don't know. You have to let me know about that because I'm not 100% sure. Um, so when you're looking at this initial line here, your brain might skip the process of facilitate the process. Okay. Your brain might automatically go dynamic layouts. Oh, user interface of the HTML type. Yeah, that works. Boom. And suddenly you get it wrong. And now you're not. Now you're wondering why. So, um, so yeah, that's why you have to be really careful when it comes to some of the questions that you get presented, especially on the certification. Read through those questions, thoroughly. You know, I know 60 minutes or 60 questions for an hour and a half is not, you know, they're basically giving you like a minute and a half, if that, per question, right? So you don't really have a lot of time to read through some of these questions, and some of them are pretty lengthy. Trying to read through it all. So, I get it, but you know, some of them might be fairly easy to do, so you might save some time that way. Okay, so make sure that you read through those questions. You make sure that you read through those answers, because just a couple of words can basically say that answer is wrong. So be prepared for that. Okay. Okay. So design templates for dynamic layouts. Design templates for are pre-formatted layouts. Many design templates provide common formatting for dynamic layouts, such as organizing content into 1, 2, or 3 columns. Each design template divides a layout into one or more regions. A developer can place fields into each region to quickly organize the content of a view. When the design template is based on a dynamic layout, a change in the screen size can rearrange contents of the view. A small number of design templates provide formatting for layouts other than dynamic layouts. So following image contains some examples of design templates provided by Pega. So uh, one column, 2 columns, 3 columns, so on and so forth. Each view can contain one design template. You can combine smaller modular views into one larger view to mimic the use of multiple templates in a single view. For example, a customer information view contains home and invoice address information. The default template for the view is one column, but the stakeholders say they want to see 2 columns, one column for the home address and the other column for the invoice address. Later, stakeholders decide that the customer information should be broken up to prevent the need to scroll to access all the fields. They request an additional change to show the customer state and provenance and telephone number grouped in a separate column with the other home address information. A developer creates a view for the home address using the 2-column template, then references this view in the first column of the original view, which also uses a 2-column template. The result is a template within a template. So in the center of the following image, slide the vertical line to see the transition from a 2-column template to a 2-column template with a 2-column template inserted into the first column. So here's the first initial you know um, 2-column templates. You know where you have the customer information and their invoice address, and then you go to the 2-column template within a 2-column template, and there you go. So now you have column A, column B, and then the additional information there. Now, obviously, um, it might be, you might want to consider doing, instead of 2 columns into a 2-column, just splitting it up into a 3-column. But obviously, that will take a lot of, um, that might take a lot of change, right? So, but I mean, it all depends on what you want it to look like. Okay, that's what the stakeholders needs to understand. You know, do you want it to have, two columns into two column, or do you want it to be, three columns wide? So, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, if the dev doesn't get that information from the stakeholder as to, what they want in the design template, then obviously the developer will have to make that choice. Um, Especially seeing that this particular view has already been made. Okay. So, but here's the thing. Um, what what they could have done, you know, instead of making, this, um, you know, they did a two column here, okay, and made that into a view, a straight singular view on that, right? And you get basically this, right? What they could have done and probably should have done, or um, what could have been something that could have been known is that, um, um, well, I mean, they did what they could to try to, handle the change that came later on. Okay, and this might have been a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line that this change comes about, right? So, I mean, it might not have been immediate. So, you know, this view might have been perfectly satisfactory for the longest time. Or not necessarily this particular view, but this particular view probably was sufficient for quite a long time, right? And then another stakeholder comes along and says, no, 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 I want, state and telephone number in their own separate columns or something along those lines. And then it's like, well, now you're gonna have to, um, now you're gonna have to, you know, determine, do you want to continue with this, single view here, or do you want to change it into the three column? Now you could have said like, hey, I'm going to create two views, you know, two singular views, one for customer information and one for invoice address, and then place both of those views, both of those singular one column views into a two column. You could do that, and that way you could have you can kind of reuse this customer information whenever you wanted to. You can reuse this invoice address whenever you wanted to, through like, in another application or something like that. Maybe you wanted to reuse that invoice address, for another application. It's quite possible. It's, something that you might want to consider, right? Um, so I mean, that's one way that you could have done it, but you know, um, it's all dependent on what you're dealing with. So, and sometimes, like I said, the change might come 2 years, 3 years down the line. So you're gonna have to consider what you want to do at that point. So we're getting near the end here though, so we gotta finish this off. So what is the one advantage of design templates? So design templates can be configured to update case status. Now, design templates allow you to have complete control of the layout by facilitating manual configuration. Kind of, but not quite. I mean, I wouldn't say that that's, completely wrong, but um, let's check the other two here. Design templates allow you to easily update the structure of a form. Not really. I mean, that's um, you know, um, I don't know if structural reform is the correct terminology there. So, easily update, kind of, yeah, but design templates can be used to quickly create properties. And no, I don't think that's it either. So I'm thinking the second answer is the best one out of the bunch. Let's see. Nope, apparently not. Um, do not support manual layout configuration? What do you mean? What? Um, but you can create your own template, so which requires you to manually create them. Hmm. I don't know if I agree with that one. But okay, let's. Um, I don't think it's configured to update state case status. That's no. You're changing the view, not updating this case status. So no. You're not creating properties. So no. So the only other one that I can think of is this one. So okay. Um, eh, updating a form though. Um, I don't see form anywhere in the description here. Hold on. Apparently there's a lot of um interesting. Hmm. Um. Yeah. I don't know. Um. This is something that I'm not sure is correct though, because I thought that you could design your own templates. And I mean, you're changing the layouts yourself to based off the design templates, so and you can make your own design templates, so I don't see that this is correct. So I'm gonna go ahead and snip this here. Okay. Um, isn't one of the possibilities that you can do with design templates is the ability to make your own. Changing how the template looks. Maybe changing, what layouts, what columns, how they are arranged occurs. I thought that Dev Studio gives you those kind of tools, which might you say would fall under manual configuration? So I'm not sure that the answer is completely incorrect. I know the answer is about forms, which is interesting that the keyword forms isn't really used much in the topic. Maybe consider changing that as well. All right. All right. Well, that's where we're gonna go ahead and end this session of the Pega study session there, folks. We're gonna move on to the next topic, or we're gonna be moving on to the Unreal Engine study session. So, for those of you that are here for the Pega study session, I thank you for continuing to watch this series. I hope you continue to get, additional good information out of it. I hope you continue to question and continue to progress towards your certification studies. Um, you know, like and subscribe. Keep yourself eyes glued on the playlist that I put up for these videos for Pega, as I will try to continue putting them out daily. So until then, oh, until the next one, take care, have a good night, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll catch you strangers next time.